one country, two systems. Now, this is the key to the survival of Hong Kong's values and lifestyle and its long-term prosperity. Okay? There is no other region in China where the common law governs. And that system cannot be duplicated elsewhere. So Hong Kong is unique. This is our precious jewel. It is that system which has put Hong Kong into the position of today, even today, of being the third most important financial and trading center of the world after New York and London. Okay? Unless the common law system is long enduring and is seen to be long enduring, and that means extending well beyond 2047. Don't forget, by 2047, you wouldn't have even reached anywhere near my age. So 2047 is not that far away. Its status as a global financial center cannot be sustained. And that question, will the common law system continue beyond 2047, is not one that will pop up in 2047. Unless it is posed and answered positively in the next few years, confidence in Hong Kong will drain away, never to return. As to this crucial issue, the decision makers are in Beijing. At best, Hong Kong can only influence a result. Now, does this not point to one thing? That it is essential to demonstrate that the common law system is fit for purpose as Hong Kong exists today, that it is robust, effective, and sensitive to the policy of one country, two systems, and worthy of Beijing's trust. But the sad truth is that in recent years, the courts, egged on by counsel, have delivered repeated shocks to the system. Let me just give you 3 examples out of dozens. Number 1, you may remember the case, Leung Lai Kwok Yvonne, which concerns the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress decision of the 31st of August, 2014, you remember that, on the method for selecting the chief executive. There, in that case, counsel for the applicant, Leung Lai Kwok, put forward the argument that the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress had acted unconstitutionally beyond its own powers, as if the jurisdiction of the Hong Kong courts now reached beyond the boundaries of Hong Kong to Beijing. Now, counsel for the government, instead of dismissing this as utter nonsense, engaged with it and cited cases from England, which were totally irrelevant to the issue. And the judge spent several pages dealing with it. Now, how someone judging the common law system, sitting in Beijing, reading that judgment, what view would they form of the common law system in Hong Kong? Okay, that's now case number 1. Case number 2, the Legislative Council oath-taking case, notorious case, in November last year. Sorry, October last year, not November. The sitting of the court was on a Thursday, you may remember. And everyone in Hong Kong knew that the Standing Committee was due to meet in Beijing that weekend, and that Hong Kong had not been put on the agenda of the Standing Committee meeting for that weekend. Everyone knew that. Everyone was talking about it. And there was the judge sitting a whole day on Thursday to determine the case brought by the two persons who had been elected but did not take the oath in the prescribed form. I don't need to repeat the awful details of that case, where swear words were used. The judge was invited at the end of the whole day's argument to give a ruling that day, if he thought it necessary to adjourn the reasons later. What did the judge do? Ho-hum, business as usual. The matter will be adjourned for a date to be announced and the decision to be delivered. And what happened that weekend? Well, Hong Kong was put on the agenda of the Standing Committee meeting, and the Standing Committee then made an interpretation of Article 104 of the Basic Law, and showing that Hong Kong people were incapable of effectively governing Hong Kong. That's the effect of it. And the judgment that the judge handed down 3 weeks later was completely irrelevant. The matter had been determined already in Beijing, when he could have determined it on that Thursday. Now, that's another face of the common law. The recent face mask, number 3, the recent face mask judgment by 2 High Court judges in November last year. What did they do? They grandly proclaimed that the Emergency Regulations Ordinance, Chapter 241 of the Laws of Hong Kong, on the statute books of Hong Kong, like any other law, including the High Court Ordinance, which gave him or gave them jurisdiction, they declared that the Emergency Regulations, Cap 241, were incompatible with the new constitutional order, because they couldn't find any article in the Basic Law which said that Chapter 241 was incompatible. So they grandly proclaim, well, we've got a new constitutional order and we can't have a law like this on the statute book. So the effect of it was to strip the the chief executive of her emergency powers at a time of great public danger. And they put themselves, in effect, on par with the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress, right? Well, I mean, the judgment, I don't know if you've read it. It's I think, I think at least 60 pages, if not more. This led to an immediate statement from the Hong Kong Macau Affairs Office, quotes, "This is a blatant challenge to the authority of the Standing Committee of the National People's Congress and to the power vested in the chief executive by law to govern," unquotes. There could not have been a stronger statement, and rightly was that statement made.